episode 7. We're looking at cricket today. We're just a couple of days out from the fourth and final test. Series is wrapped up. Pretty much what you thought?
Yeah.
Australia's going to wrap it up?
Yeah, it's about how I thought it would go. I think it's been good that we've had decent weather and there's only a little bit of rain, but it hasn't really had an effect on the game. So
yeah, I think we lost a session and that was about it.
Yeah.
It was pretty good.
And even now I think they made up for a lot of it by playing early and playing later and whatnot. But no, I think it's been an interesting series, and we've seen it's pretty much gone the way we expected, but we've seen a few standouts, especially from the Indians. We've had
Kohli's ripped it up.
Yeah, Kohli and who was the other fella? VJ.
Oh, yeah, VJ. Yeah. No, actually, they batted pretty well. Considering I feel like this is the first time we've seen a new Indian lineup because there's no Tendulkar, obviously, no Rahul Dravid, no VVS Laxman, and VVS Laxman's been the one that's really pelted Australia.
Yeah,
and they're all gone, and now Dhoni's gone as well.
And even in their bowling stocks, it seems like they came out with very depleted spin selections.
Yeah, it's unusual for India.
Yeah, I thought for sure that would be their go-to sort of thing because their pace was never really that much chop. I mean, they had fast bowlers, but
traditionally their pace attack's been pretty weak, especially coming out here. Although I think Ishant Sharma, the first time he came out, he messed up Ponting something good.
Yeah, I think so.
Then he's been Mr. Inconsistent from then on.
Yeah, he's sort of followed the same line as Shoaib Akhtar, where he had that raw pace, could never really contain it, and bowls consistent line and length.
Yeah, but Mitch Johnson was the same once upon a time.
True.
Then he became the best bowler in the world. So
yeah, and I think another thing with the overall series so far is that you can tell the difference in. I don't know what you call it in cricket, but we call them 1%ers in AFL.
Yeah.
Where it seems like they concentrate on batting and bowling and the rest of it just not really concerned about.
It doesn't seem that way. There's been some shocking fielding, although in the Boxing Day test there was a couple of dropped catches and missed run-outs from Australia that might have forced a result, but end of the day, I think I read India have won 1 out of their last 21 away tests.
Jesus.
So they're pretty happy just to
play on dirt.
Play on their own dust bowls and belt up Sri Lanka and Bangladesh whenever they feel like it, and
try to make some cash out of the Premier League,
IPL,
whatever they call it these days.
Oh, same thing, yeah.
But no, the Boxing Day test I thought was an interesting test in regards to the wicket that they employed. I thought
docile.
It was a bit too true, I think. You didn't see much variation in bounce, or even the cracks didn't open up quick enough, and it just didn't seem to offer a lot for a result out of a 5-day match.
Yeah, I reckon there's been some suggestion that those kind of pitches seem to follow India around the world.
Yeah.
But I don't understand why people would suggest that because, like I just said, 21 test matches, they won 1.
And I remember they were said on the broadcast that Clark was saying that they don't actually sort of get in touch with the curator, that's what he says, and organise the pitches. And I thought that would be the first thing you would do. I thought that was an accepted sort of aspect of cricket.
I think, you go talk to the curator, then you talk to the bookies, get it all sorted out, and then you go, and deny everything. So, I think he's done it all right there.
Yeah. And I saw we had the incidents of people getting kicked out of the match for, what do they call it? Ball-by-ball betting or something like that?
Yeah, spot betting.
Spot betting, yeah, where they take advantage of the delay in transmission between broadcasts from here in India.
But how can you be that dumb to not factor that in?
And the thing is, if you're a bookie taking bets on individual balls, you're an idiot anyway. You deserve to have your money taken off you.
Yeah.
If you're going to put that much risk into it, then I'll get fucked.
And there's a delay between...
Yeah.
Oh, that's just stupid. I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, you just open yourself up. There's one guy, I think he's been kicked out of 3 ovals so far. He's been banned because they just catch him, obviously... whoever's looking around the crowd, they catch him sitting there with a laptop and entering the results of each ball and sending them out to whoever's on the other end of it. And he's been kicked out of 3 grounds and apparently still trying to get back in.
He hasn't heard of mobile phones?
No, that's what I would have thought. If you just had like a little iPad or
no one's going to give a
tablet,
shit.
no one even noticed. You're going to kick everyone out on their iPhone, then not going to be.
Yeah, there's going to be anybody left. Although, it's hard to get signal at the MCG. So that's true. That's the amazing thing. He can get signal there.
Yeah, true.
I think they should hire him.
Yeah.
Like the casinos hiring the cheats to work security. Hire him to work out how the bloody hell he gets a mobile signal at the MCG.
Yeah, well, I'm sure Tom Waterhouse probably got him signed up. We'll see him on. He'll be the inside guide, whatever you call him, on the broadcasts.
Yeah, I'm glad that hasn't followed over.
Yeah, I'm glad. I haven't heard much about him lately. Good. Stick it again.
No, because they had him on the commentary team for the Channel 9 for the NRL for a little while.
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't last long.
No.
Turns out he's not that interesting.
No. Boring as batshit, really.
And Steve Smith goes from strength to strength.
Yeah, he just can't really do anything wrong at the moment.
A lazy 190 odd in the first innings.
Yep.
He got out in ridiculous fashion just for the sake of it. He just can't do any wrong.
No, it seems like what really gets him out is fatigue. Seems like he's had enough.
Boredom.
Yeah.
Averaging 145 for the series. Ain't too bad.
Yeah.
If it weren't for Brendan McCullum scoring fuck knows how many runs over in New Zealand, he'd be the number one going around last year.
Yeah, I agree. And just the way that he does it doesn't show a whole lot of weakness and just real determination. It doesn't matter what bowlers are there. Because one of the things that I thought was maybe if he was up the order, it might be different facing those bowlers. But the thing is, when scoring 195, you're facing a new bowler.
You're facing everything.
The best bowlers, so.
And he's batting number 4 now. He's not, 7 or 8 where he used to be.
Yeah, and making a real case to take that number 3 spot too. Especially when you look where Clark's going to come back in.
Yeah, well, Clark won't be back in for the next one, sure, certainly. Which, if you go from one end of the scale, the current number 3 spot is held by Watson.
Yep.
Who finally passed the 50 mark for the first time in the series.
Made it look hard too.
It made it look very difficult, and he got to 52. You don't think he's going to get dropped for the 4th one, though, do you? Just doesn't feel like he is.
No, it seems like that they've got stuck to the maximum. If it ain't broke, then there's not really a whole lot of point in changing it.
Yeah. But, I've got the series stats up here, and he has the 11th highest, the 10th highest Australian batting average for the series. It would be 11th, but Josh Hazlewood hasn't got out yet.
Oh, really?
So he hasn't got an average.
He's got average, yeah.
It's not really that great.
No, and I mean, he's played a little bit of a role with the ball, but it's not enough to warrant keeping him in the Test side. I don't believe.
Oh, he's been good with the ball, but he's got 2 wickets. But he's tied up an end, and he's done okay.
Yeah,
but we haven't really been struggling with the ball either.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, our bowlers have been doing a good enough job that we need a part-timer just to break it up here and there, but we've got enough people that can do that as well.
Yeah, exactly. So I'd like to see somebody else come in and at the number 3 spot, like a Cowan or something, but I just can't see it happening.
No, I think they'll just sort of worry about getting this test out of the way, and there's got the World Cup coming up as well, don't we?
It's and you just know it's a dead rubber. The 4th test, he's due for 100. You can book it.
Yep. Plus, Johnson's not playing; he's out, so that gives you another chance, I reckon.
Yeah. Johnson being out, it happens a lot now. It's like this game doesn't matter. Mitch, have a rest.
Yeah.
You really do keep him just for the ones that matter.
Yeah, and it seems like it could even be a lifestyle thing with Mitch as well. I'm sure he gets pretty annoyed at having to travel around. He's had a bit of domestic problems over the years, so
I think he's got it sorted now. I haven't heard about it in Women's Weekly for a little while.
Yeah, well, that's true. I've kind of stopped my subscription, so I haven't been keeping up to date with the news.
Oh, it's all online now. But he's had a weird series too, though, because he seems to be 3 or 4 Ks slower than he was last year.
Yeah, he does seem to be missing a little bit of that raw pace, but it seems like the Indians didn't have a whole lot of fear coming into it.
No.
He didn't have that same mental advantage that he had over the Sri Lanka, the South Africans and the English, but it still did enough to rattle him here and there.
Yeah, I mean, last year he took, I think, 37 wickets in a 5-test series against England, a series where he shouldn't have been playing anyway.
Yeah.
So you are comparing it to sort of the ideal.
Yeah.
So, he came down a little bit from last season, but you had to, because you couldn't go up.
Yeah, exactly. And at the end of the day, we haven't lost, so you can't really complain because he's doing his role and the team's playing well as a team. It's just a matter of...
He's still averaging 35, which is probably 10 runs more than he should be, with the ball.
Yep.
But he's put in some of the bats.
What's his average with the bat?
44.
It's not too bad.
Yeah, 45.
Decent average these days.
Yeah, top scorer in the 80s. Which has been the other funny thing. The Australian tail has been amazing this year.
Yeah.
Ryan Harris got man of the match for the Boxing Day test. Because he had 80-odd. Scored 80-odd in the first innings and picked up, I think, a 4 and a 3 for.
Yep.
Or something like that. It's just... I don't think anybody hates Ryan Harris.
No.
Yeah, he's
no.
just one of those guys who just gonna
Gives it 100%.
give
No
it
matter what.
Yeah,
He's like the old workhorse.
exactly. Yeah,
But it seems like it's a point of pride amongst the tail of Australia about scoring runs. It's almost as if you've got that healthy competition amongst them all where they actually really strive to be good batters.
yeah, and really work at it. And it's not just the old tail ender coming in, swinging a miss or whatever. Although there is some of that.
Some of them are there. They're really setting up and constructing a proper innings. And yeah, they're even saying that Mitchell Johnson used to be an opening batsman in the junior grade, so he's not too shabby with the bat.
Yeah, I think they used to do a lot of things in the junior grades.
Yeah, this is true.
It always seems to come up as somebody, you used to do this, you used to open the bat in under 14s.
Yeah.
Don't give a shit.
And then again, if you're playing for Australia, generally at those ages, you just dominated everything anyway.
Exactly, yeah. You open the batting and the bowling. And
Yeah.
sometimes you're keeping off your own.
And you're the captain, and you're probably scoring too.
Yeah, let's see. I think out of the bowlers that have got 50, I think Hazelwood and Lyon are the only two that haven't passed half century yet. Hang on, I've got the stats here.
Yeah, Hazelwood's not too crap with the bat, so you'd say he's definitely capable of getting there if he had a decent crack.
Well, he hasn't got out yet.
Yeah.
In his Test career, but yeah, those two are the only two bowlers that haven't. And Siddle, who only played the first Test.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just from an Indian standpoint, that must be so frustrating. You finally get 7 or 8 down for decent runs, and then there's another 100-run partnership.
Yeah, and I mean, they didn't take 20 wickets in a match, so
They haven't
won
yet.
shit. Yeah, and I don't even know there were a few innings where they didn't even get 10 wickets, so it's pretty hard to win a match when you can't take the wickets.
Yeah, they can't exactly.
That's what it comes down to.
Before last year, that was pretty much Australia's problem too.
Yeah,
Just couldn't take 20 wickets in a match.
yeah,
But they got 19 in the last one, so they got more wickets than Australia did.
yep.
But it's the game played out for a draw, so it's kind of what happens.
It didn't really look like it was going to get a result, really.
No, you felt that way after sort of day 3. So there's a little bit of controversy around that. They reckon that playing for the draw was the wrong thing to do. From Steve Smith. What's your take on it? Because it's a 4-match series. It's the 3rd match. You've won the first 2, so a draw means you win the series.
Yeah.
And obviously that's what they were doing on the late day 4, early day 5.
Yeah.
It's just batting out so that they couldn't lose.
Yeah.
And then if we get 10 wickets, we get 10.
Yeah. I think what really might have sort of set that up was the previous day where there was a bit of rain around. So they didn't get a chance to declare in the afternoon and put him in for half a session or something and try and take the wickets then.
They still batted for ages, Friday morning. Did they bat an entire...
the whole
they
session,
declared at lunch.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was pretty obvious, that they weren't giving them a sniff.
Yeah, and I think they only declared because they took a wicket and then they called lunch and they're like, oh, all right, well that'll declare.
Yeah.
And you always want to see him go for the win, but I can understand why he always went, nah, we've got to take the series.
Yeah, the series win's a series win. And to be honest, it'd been an entertaining enough Test.
Yeah.
Anybody that reckons that they were robbed of a result, I reckon it's going a bit far.
Yeah, and I don't believe that Smith would have just made that decision of himself.
No,
you know
of course not.
It would have consulted everyone. It would have been a team decision that we've had enough. We've had a gutful.
I'm going to say he would have been sitting next to Buff Lehman. I'm sure Michael Clark was still floating around, ducking out of the commentary box to go, hey guys.
And at the end of the day, you're going to talk to your bowlers. Do you reckon you can take these wickets? They're going to tell you yes or no.
Yeah.
And you're going to take them into account. But you never know what happened behind closed doors. So people seem to make it a personal attack on Smith, which I think was just ridiculous.
Oh, you got to say something to bring him down.
Yeah.
You can't let him go too far ahead.
Yeah, because
it's
stupid to think that first game captain, you're going to just make those decisions of yourself. Nah, of course there's going to be some consultation amongst the team and the management and that sort of stuff.
It's been like, I actually got to watch a lot of this Test. It was great. It was fine. There was nothing spectacular about it. It was solid from start to finish.
It was just good cricket. And it was a good display of batting from both teams. And you had a fair, flat track that you could, really utilise all your shots and that on.
You've got to start. You could go on with it. There's quite a few centuries made, so for both sides.
Yeah, and the crowds were good as well. People came along and enjoyed it. So for as long as the rain stayed away.
Yeah. Mitch Marsh. Second man run out for 90. Second man out for 99 in the series.
Yep.
Talked himself out of it. You reckon?
Yeah, it was just a little bit too eager just to get over the line.
Just a nice little quick single for your 90 for your 100th run.
Yeah.
I reckon he was just sitting there for too long.
Yeah. I think he just got a bit too. He just wanted to get over and done with, and then continue on with his innings.
I think it would have been his first 100 in Australia too. So yeah. Anyway, the good thing is you get another chance in Sydney.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Nice. Well, actually, it's not as small as it used to be in Sydney now. But last time India came out, Clark scored 329 not out in Sydney against India. So Smith, you got your the benchmarks there.
Yeah, he'd be able to give the rest of the team a rest to stick him in number one. Just have a slap.
Yeah, go on. So on the other side though, Virat Kohli is absolutely killing it.
Yeah.
There's been some gentle sledging on the ground. I got no fucking problem with it.
Nah, I think it's great to see, and I'm loving that the Indians aren't stepping back. They're just giving it straight back to it. I think it's great.
With a smile all the way.
Yeah, and I love how not even wait until they face a ball, which as soon as they walk across the line, what's going on, mate? What are you ready to do?
He's walking into the crease, having a chat to the next bloke that comes in. The commentators are saying, that's the captain's he's the only one that can talk.
Yeah.
And, well, he's captain now, so he can do it all he likes.
That's it. So now he's got a bit of practice, so he's done his apprenticeship, and he's ready to go full on sledge mode.
But he's doing it with a smile, and he's scoring runs, so it doesn't matter.
And the fact is that it's got people talking about it, so it's developing the interest in the game. And I'm sure it works with some people, but some people which don't work. So you've got to be smart enough to realise, hang on, we've just stirred this guy up and he's going to smash us. So maybe cut out the sledging for a couple of overs.
Freddie Flintoff was on the commentary last night on the Big Bash. He was saying, there's just guys, you just don't do it.
Yeah.
Like, you don't talk to Warner because he gets angry. He's going to start slapping him over the fence.
Freddie Flintoff, he wasn't too bad on the lip as well. He'd give out a decent sledge.
He'd be a funny lad. I reckon he'd sledge himself sometimes.
Yeah. But his commentary's been great in the Big Bash, especially where he's been mic'd up playing. That's been hilarious.
He's a good lad. Give that bloody pen out. So this test also marked the retirement of MS Dhoni.
Yeah, he seemed just disinterested from the start. You could tell by his captaincy. He didn't really seem interested in being aggressive and putting thought into the game.
See, I don't know. It looked like this has been one of the first times an Indian team's come out here and actually actively tried to take it up to Australia.
Yeah.
For the most part. But then again, there's been a lot of times where they've gone 8 sweepers. We'll try and get the last 2 wickets at the other end.
Yeah.
And you just go, what the fuck? What's the point?
Well, that's what I thought, is they just didn't have that killer instinct enough. They didn't, when they had, get a wicket, then put everyone around the batsman.
Yeah.
Build that pressure up.
They had it, they get the first 6 or something, and then Ryan Harris will come out and score an 80, and they go, oh, fuck this.
Yeah.
And then you just see it drop it so quickly.
Yeah, and the first thing they'll do is take a slip out, move the long on or somewhere like that. And it's like, you got to be prepared to go for a few runs to take those wickets. Yeah. That's just the way it is.
And then in the second innings, they got Smith caught it down to that leg slip.
Yeah.
At least they tried something. They had a plan, and it looked like a silly plan, but it worked, so it's not silly anymore.
And it wasn't the only one that got caught on the leg slip as well.
No, there was a couple.
I saw them employ that tactic a few times, and I haven't seen it work like that for years.
Well, actually, I was watching last night. Carberry last year in the Ashes got caught down leg slip.
Oh, okay. There you go.
I think it was the Adelaide Test. I can't remember.
Yep.
But it was by coincidence that I was watching highlights last night and I saw it and I went, oh shit, it worked just 12 months ago. But it is still one of those things that even the commentators then were saying, I can't remember the last time a leg slip worked like that.
Yeah.
But MS Dhoni is, I think he's won more tests as captain for India than any other captain before.
Yeah.
Which I think says more about how they've shuffled their captains around recently.
Yeah, exactly.
But, he's always felt like a one-day player and a T20 specialist that's sort of fell into Test cricket.
Yeah, I think he was just having to be the best player on the team when there was a captain's job available, and as soon as you're captain, you're forced to.
And Tendulkar was captain for a little bit and then gave it up, and Rahul Dravid retired, and I don't think VVS Laxman was keen on the role, and so they had all these, and Sehwag was the other one.
Yeah, that's right.
So they had all these absolute superstars, and sort of gone now, and he was the one that was left. But he's making fuck knows how much money.
Oh yeah, he had no dramas about that whatsoever
on that side of it. So yeah,
plus I like seeing him. He's a good cricketer and he's interesting to watch play. So
he's always forcing the issue when with a bat in the hand.
Yeah. So that's why. I wonder how it would have turned out had he not been captain. How he's sort of batting and performances would have changed, but. I think on the whole it's been good, but looking forward, you've got Kohli there who's definitely got his own.
He's ready.
Yeah, his own culture that he's going to implement.
And he's not that old either, so hopefully you're probably going to get 8 to 10 years out of him.
Yeah,
as captain.
And he's got that aggressive attitude, so I hope that translates through his captaincy.
He's and that, like I said, that little cheeky, I'm going to take you on.
Yeah, just keep nipping at him.
Just smells like ponting.
Yeah,
I reckon,
doesn't it? Yeah, he's almost like Hayden, almost like a Valentine or something.
Yeah,
Annoying little fuckers that are always at you.
I can't believe how much he's smiling when he's doing it. That's why he's going to be the new one that we love to hate.
Yeah, and you need those people in other teams. You need them to be good. That's what creates the interest in the game and creates that rivalry.
Yeah, if you're just smacking them all the time, there's no fucking point.
Yeah, exactly. And so it'll be interesting to see how our spinners do in Sydney, because it's been known for it to be a spinning track.
Well, it's always traditionally been, take 2 spinners to Sydney, but in the last few years, it's sort of, all the pitches started to look a little bit alike, and it hasn't really happened.
Yeah.
But Ashton Agar has been added to the squad.
Yeah.
Which would be interesting because I'd love to see him play 2 spinners.
Yeah.
Because I can't remember the last time we did it. We've been struggling to find 1 spinner.
Yeah.
But hopefully he plays, because there's no other reason to add him to the squad unless you're going to play 2 spinners.
Yeah.
Because you're not dropping Lyon.
Yeah.
Because he's actually the leading wicket taker.
Yeah.
For
He's
Australia.
been doing very well.
Yeah.
Like for an off spinner, he's been actually turning the ball
a bit, yeah, which we haven't seen from a finger spinner for God knows how long.
And looks like he's been working on different variations as well as he's like going to the match. I don't know if he's been sort of saddled up next to Warney or something, but seems like he's changed into a much more thinker of how he constructs his overs and sort of plans his attack on each batter.
So 19 wickets he's taken, and the next closest is Johnson with 13, who won't be playing. So he plays.
Yeah.
That's just, unless there's an injury that we haven't heard of, which is highly unlikely because we would have heard it. But the other thing, I'd like to see Ashton Agar play, because there's just more runs in the tail there.
Yeah.
He's such a good batter.
Yep.
It's just going to be so frustrating for the
And
Indians.
just got the right attitude as well. Like even when he scored that 99.
99 on debut, yeah.
And your dad's like, well,
That's the way it goes.
That's the way it goes, yep. It sucks, but what can you do?
So, it doesn't sound like he's going to be a direct replacement for Johnson, though.
Yeah.
So somebody else is going to miss out, and I can't see Hazelwood or Ryan Harris doing that. Maybe Ryan Harris will have a rest.
Yeah.
But otherwise, the new bowler is going to be either Stark or Siddle.
Yeah.
Now, Stark, I reckon, will probably get it because it's his home track and he's a left armour.
Yeah, that's what I think will be in his favour.
But which is a bit of a shame, because I would have liked to see Siddle get another game.
Yeah, me too. It's always good to see Siddle up there. Just seems he's gone a bit out of fashion with the selectors.
Well, he played in the first test and was average. No, he was the worst of our bowlers, but our bowlers, did well.
Yeah.
And then they decided, because of the tight schedule, he'd have a rest for Brisbane.
Yeah.
And then Hazelwood did well, so you're not going to drop him.
Yep.
So he's sat the next one out as well.
He's just stuck on deck, more or less.
Yeah, and he's not playing Big Bash League or anything like that. There's no Sheffield Shield cricket, so he's just bowling nets.
Just relaxing for a bit, enjoying the summer.
But if he doesn't get back in soon, he might not get back in at all.
Yeah, and it seems like we've had a lot of Australian fast bowlers just sort of fade away like that. Like, we haven't heard much out of Hilton House and bowlers like that who just tended to drift off and you just never seen them come back again.
I mean, Hilfy was a bit weird because I don't think we've had anybody swing the ball as good as he could.
Yeah.
And we sort of needed him when, especially on the English pitches where reverse swing was becoming so important.
Yeah.
And we didn't have anybody else that could do it.
Yep.
But I mean, he is playing in the Big Bash League and just sort of, he's there.
Yeah.
But I not even in the conversation,
Yeah, that's it. And I mean, I'm not saying that he should be up for selection or anything, but it's just funny how a lot of bowlers just fall out of favour, not because they're going crap, just because it's hard to slot them back in when other bowlers are going well.
There's only a couple of spots, aren't there?
And next thing you know, they're 33 and that's it.
Yeah, pretty much. And they're looking at the next generation as well. They've always been talking about Pattinson and Cummings and coming on. And Stark's had the start-stop test career so far.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to see which way they go. I'd like to see Siddle get one more. Because I think especially him and Harris together are very similar. And that might be the reason they go for the taller left armour.
Yeah, that's it. It's mainly horses, of course, isn't it? Whereas Sydney, you're not really going to fit him in amongst that lineup, especially when you're going to hopefully try and play 2 spinners.
I'd rather that'd be my preference. See the 2 spinners. But having said that, Sydney Test, I reckon we're going to see another draw.
Yeah, so do I. I don't think
lots of runs.
And we've got the Ashes in the middle of the year, don't we?
Yep, this year
England, so.
over in England. And I was just reading before that Chris Rogers is named that as his farewell series.
Really?
I imagine he'll still be in the side then, but yeah, he said that'll do me.
Oh, fair enough.
He's old enough, so this will be his last test in Australia. Either way.
Oh, okay. There you go.
So there's a opening batsman spot available post Ashes, or maybe even during the Ashes.
Yeah.
That somebody like a Cowan might slot into.
Yeah, and I mean, I would have thought that he would have been sort of in a bit of a tussle for that opening spot for the Ashes tour.
Yeah, he's done the minimum.
Yeah.
To keep his spot, I think.
Yeah.
He did okay. What did he score? 80 odd or 90 odd in the last test?
I think it was about that. Maybe even cracked a ton. I can't remember. But I mean,
69 he scored.
We haven't been short on runs either, so
yeah,
makes it a bit easier.
And Warner's he's got a couple of centuries.
Yeah.
So his partner down the other end's done all right.
Yeah.
It's a guy that got a late start to his career and now it's going to wrap up. He's got to be happy with himself, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he's only just sort of come on the radar and managed to make a living out of it, and he's 37, so it's not too bad.
He's very big over in England, and the English pitches will suit him, so hopefully he goes out on a high.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think fourth test, starting teams will be named today or tomorrow, I think. So just looking at that, if they go the two spinners or not, but I think it's a draw. You think it's a draw?
Yeah, I think they'll get a result, and I think it's only because the two sides have such good batting lineups.
Yeah,
it's just hard to get them out because when you score 400 and plenty on the first innings and they always get chased down, it's really hard to get a result for the rest of the match.
Yeah, especially the pitches just haven't been that nasty.
Yeah.
All right, well, that'll be the test summer then. Have you caught much of the Big Bash league this season?
Not as much as I should, but I've been watching here and there. It's been interesting.
It's great the way they've set it up that there's a game on every day. You sort of like, oh yeah, I'll go watch cricket tonight.
Yeah,
there's been some crackers.
Yeah.
I watched the Brisbane Heat and Hobart Hurricanes game Friday night. Yep. The Heat scored 210 and Hobart chased it down with ease.
Yeah.
God, that was good to
watch. That was crazy. Yeah, I remember watching it, and that was just... There was no dull overs. It was just non-stop.
No, everything was on.
Bang.
Yeah. And poor old our mate Freddie. He got an absolute bang. I think he got 18 off his first over.
Yeah, something like that. Him being mic'd up is brilliant.
Yeah.
Bash.
He was so good just sitting up in the commentary box last night's game, which was Heat and the Strikers.
Yeah.
He's been really good since he's retired. He's gone and done half a dozen of his own TV shows, and he was commentating the darts the other night.
Yeah, I did see that actually.
And somebody got a 9-dart finish, and Freddie's like, "I'm in the box. I get to see this. It's fucking great, fantastic." He's just a bloke that enjoys life now.
Yeah,
it's so funny having him come over to play Big Bash and do the commentary, and comparing it to Kevin Peterson doing the commentary as well. I love listening to both of them.
Yeah,
don't get me wrong. And they're both great players to watch as well.
Yeah.
But you couldn't find two different people.
Yeah.
Both, former England captains, both of them.
Yep.
And we got Freddie, who sounds like he's got a pint in one hand and a pork pie in the other.
Yeah.
While KP, you can just smell the private school dripping off him.
Yeah, exactly. Like Freddie seems like he's one of your blokes you met down the bar and you bumped into him, had a fight, and then your best mates.
He's great. I'd like him to commentate everything.
Yeah. Well, I watched a few episodes of his show. It wasn't too bad. It's pretty funny.
What do you do? Boxing and
everything. It was kind of like the Shaq versus show.
Yeah.
But with Freddie going around the world. Yeah, it was interesting enough. And he's definitely got the personality to stay within sort of the media side of anything, really.
Yeah, he was on the 8 out of 10 Cats Christmas episode.
Oh, was he really?
Well, yeah.
Well, he fit right in on something like that and QI, those sorts of shows.
Yeah. Oh, maybe not QI.
You need some retard on there. It's always funny.
They've got Alan Davies.
Yeah.
They've already got their retard quota sorted. They over-retard sometimes when Johnny Vegas goes on there.
Yeah.
But no, he's been fantastic to listen to. But on the Big Bash League, this is season 4, and I reckon it's cement now.
Yeah.
It's absolutely in. It's every summer. We're going to get all the internationals that want to play it, especially the West Indians who are looking for cash.
And, I mean, they've been doing bloody well, too.
Yeah.
They've been worth every cent.
And enjoying it, too.
Yeah.
It was that Dwayne Bravo was doing a little dance routine after every wicket the other
night.
That
was awesome.
Which is great. And on the Hobart Hurricanes and the Brisbane Heat game we were talking about earlier, I'm trying to remember the West Indian who faced one ball.
Oh, was it Pollard?
No,
it wasn't Pollard.
Was it Sammy? I think it was Sammy.
Yeah, it was.
Darren Sammy. When Bailey was chasing down the runs, he only faced one ball, but you can see he's cheering and pumping his fist after every run that was scored.
Yeah.
It was fantastic because it was his last game for him because they all now go off for international duties for the World Cup coming up. But it was just fantastic to see somebody at the other end just enjoying themselves.
And I mean, there's been just moments of individual brilliance all throughout most games. Like the fielding's been sensational. Some of the catches are the best you've seen to date.
It might have been Pollard actually took the catch off. No, it wasn't Pollard. Anyway, took a catch off Bravo's bowling where was it Faulkner hit it?
That rocket.
That rocket, barely went above head height.
Yeah, it was like Faulkner teed off with a one wood.
Yeah,
and just struck it straight at him.
You can see he feared for his life, but he took it. It was a great catch. Probably won't feature in catches of the year, but it should.
Yeah, but it's only because there's been so many of jumping over the rope and throwing it back in. And when you think about what are the hardest, individual skills to pull off, it seems like that's up there as the top thing at the moment. Is trying to have the presence to know where the rope is and the awareness to keep it in play or throw it to someone who's nearby or jump up back over the rope.
Well, it was one of the things that T20's brought in is that taking the catch isn't as important as stopping that ball. You've got to stop it going over the rope first because those extra 2 runs or whatever it may be. Whereas, Test cricketers always take the catch.
Yeah. And, they've really nailed the format for a 2020 game. And it seems like the teams at this point with 4th year have really figured out the strategy to win when you're bowling first or bowling second. Yeah,
and it is interesting too. Even the teams have sorted out how to pick a team and who to chase. They're not just chasing. We need big names because that'll put bums on seats. There's still a little bit of that going on. But if you have a look at like the Adelaide Strikers, who are undefeated at the minute, there's good players, no doubt, but they're not, the guys that have had a big one-day international career or anything like that. They're blokes that they're playing 2020. And like I said, they're undefeated at the minute, and I reckon they'll go all the way.
Yeah, it's kind of a Moneyball approach to Big Bash.
Yeah, and it's a sensible thing.
Yeah, and like you're saying, where you can get the big stars for bums in seats, but people like cups, championships at the end. That's what people want to see.
And also the Adelaide Strikers have striked gold with their New Year's Eve game. Sold out Adelaide Oval. And I don't know if you saw, but a couple of days before the game, Mark Waugh was lamenting having to go over to Adelaide for New Year's Eve.
Was he?
And Adelaide Strikers put out an open letter saying, mate, what are you doing? You're commentating this fucking game.
Yeah.
We're going to sell out Adelaide Oval. It's going to be pumping. You don't want to come here? Don't come.
Really?
Send someone else who wants to be here. I thought Adelaide had done it so well.
Yeah,
that was a perfect response.
And that Adelaide Oval looks brilliant at night time. For cricket, it's sensational, and
especially when there's not a spare seat in the house.
Yeah,
it's making everybody stand up and notice.
Yeah, and just the backdrop of North Terrace right behind it, and you got North Adelaide on the other side. It just looks brilliant. I think it's up there as the best ground to watch cricket at.
You can't see St Mark's Church anymore, can you? From the ground?
No, I don't think so because they got all the trees and shit there and the stands.
Yeah, but people in the way.
Yeah, but the way they've done it, the renovations that they've done to Adelaide Oval, it just fits into the parkland surroundings brilliantly. Like it doesn't stand out like an eyesore. It just really fits in well with the nature, and I think they've done a top job.
And the locals have supported it, and that's the main thing. It doesn't matter how good the stadium looks. If it's empty, nobody gives a shit. But they're starting to follow it. It's been the footy and it's been the cricket as well now. So it's been fantastic.
And especially you've got a centralised venue for your sport in Adelaide. I think it's making a
big
big difference.
Yeah,
and people become familiar with that ground. And they feel an attachment to that ground, no matter what, and you're gonna have the memories of going there with your old man or your kids, going to watch football and the cricket, and you feel that sense of allegiance. Every summer we go to Adelaide Oval, we watch cricket. Then in winter we watch the footy. It's
going to be interesting once the World Cup starts to see. I reckon they'll probably still get a couple of 10,000 or so for Sri Lanka versus Bangladesh or something.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, by that point they could be the biggest matches because
it could be.
We're going to be stuff from Asian Cup that's going on with soccer and whatnot.
Yeah,
like crowd wise.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Fatigue
and then you have people who are going to piss off to England for the Ashes. So
after that, and all the soccer that's coming on, like you said, the Asian Cup, and the other big games coming up later on in the year as well.
Yeah, and definitely the local Indian communities and Sri Lankan communities get behind their team, which is great to see.
Yeah, it's been good crowds for the Tests.
Yeah,
I was expecting a little bit more though, but still record crowds.
Yeah, but there's been good support on both teams as well.
Yeah,
the banter seemed friendly enough. I don't think with cricket a few times I didn't really see any trouble.
Yeah,
it all seemed to be
while we're doing the Big Bash League, hello Cat. Gillies had a couple of great ones while he's in the box.
Yeah.
The other day he was saying that hitting the winning runs is the hardest thing to do in cricket. Think of a few other hard things to do.
Yeah.
Pushing that last single is kind of easy sometimes.
Yeah.
I reckon bowling the last ball when they need 2 runs off it is not that simple either.
Yeah.
But anyway, also he couldn't remember the Mario brothers' names.
Really?
He remembered Luigi, but he goes, "What's the other Mario brothers' name?"
Oh my god!
Yeah, because there was the Melbourne versus Melbourne game, and they're both wearing one's wearing red, one's wearing green. He goes, "Looks like the Mario brothers, Luigi and what's the other one?" And the box just went silent. And
I was going to say, Gilly didn't take that many shots to the head. Did he?
Even Dad looked at me and goes, "It's Mario, isn't it?" Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I mean, you usually expect that from punch-drunk boxers or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
From Gilly. But, I mean, he's probably had a few big weekend or whatever, big Christmas.
Yeah.
Could he be hammered? Who knows?
And the rest of them let it slip. So, yeah.
Well, that's good for them because I'll be calling him out on that shit straight away.
Yeah, I know that Twitter did.
We had a few stuff-ups with the mic'd-up captains as well.
Oh, George Bailey, wasn't it? Oh, fuck me.
Fuck me. I wasn't sure if he saw Pollard with his zip down or what it was like.
I reckon they should let it go.
Yeah, me too.
Encourage it more.
That's why we should be able to commentate cricket live on podcast. Because, I mean, you wouldn't bother listening to the people on radio.
No. Actually, the Channel 10 commentary team's been better received than Channel 9, because Channel 9's been absolute shit.
Yeah, it has.
But I couldn't imagine sitting there swearing at the cricket for 6 or 7 hours a day.
No, instead I stay at home and swear at the commentators.
Yeah, exactly. Gives you something to talk about anyway.
Yeah, because I was surprised they got Andy Marr in there. But, I mean, I'm guessing he's just the sort of program guy. Like, he'll make sure everything runs on time and
exactly.
structured
and then get punter or junior to chime in with whatever they got.
And Junior's been good in there. He's been funny.
Yeah, he's been all right.
He
mentions horses like Bill Laurie mentions pigeons.
Yeah, he doesn't. He hates a punt.
Yeah, hates it. But yeah, so I've been really impressed. And even again, going back to Freddie Flintoff, he was saying last night, the format's good for the internationals as well, because they come out for 6 weeks. There's a game on every day.
Yeah.
They can come in, get their paycheck, play their games, and give it a decent run, not just hit and run.
Yeah.
And then go on back to international or whatever else he's bloody doing.
Yeah, and it seems like, I mean, you would think that it's something that those international players look forward to every year. You get to come out to Australia for 6 weeks of the summer, have a bit of a hit, and it's not serious, you know what I mean? I mean, you're there, you want to win. But
no, I think it is serious now. I think they've finally reached that stage where it's not hit and giggle anymore.
Yeah, they're out there to win.
And as much as it was seen as the senior players or ex-internationals when it started coming out for a quick paycheck to finish off their career.
Yeah.
Now it's a paycheck. There's also an audition for the Indian Premier League, or they're going off and playing in the Caribbean 2020 League. I know Brad Hodge got to face one ball in the Indian Premier League, and that was in a practice match before he got injured again. But so it is seen as a viable career option now.
And I suppose with the strength of the Australian domestic cricket, it's a good sort of proving ground for yourself to get some real form against top-class opponents and set yourself up for the rest of the year.
It is funny, usually with sports, it's, we've seen that the A-League's done well, but it still struggles to get, the real big numbers, because it's not as good as the English Premier League or La Liga or Bundesliga or anything like this. Yeah. So it is still a second-rate league. The Big Bash League, you'd have to say, is probably the second best T20 league going around, because of Indian Premiership League. The Premier League is so much more money. Yeah,
that's what it comes down to. Is that, I mean, at the end of the day, people are going to follow the dollars because they need it. Yeah,
of course. And that's how sports run. And there's no problems with that. But it is good to see that people are taking the Big Bash League seriously, and they're coming out to try and get themselves a good price for the next auction in the IPL.
And I mean, the main difference for me about watching the IPL and watching Big Bash is just the crowd interaction with the game.
Yep.
I just hate when you go to the subcontinent and all you hear is meh, 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 just for the whole match.
Yeah.
Like, can't you just clap when they do something good and shut the fuck up for the rest of the game?
It's almost like, guys, this is a vuvuzela. Give that a go. That's less annoying than what you're doing.
Yeah. I don't know what they're doing to make all this racket the whole time. Like, what do you do when you go to cricket there?
Yeah, cricket's always been that, sit back and enjoy a game rather than...
Yeah.
But yeah, all right, if they're happy and that's what they're doing, they're paying their...
Maybe not big drinkers.
I don't know. They're not having kebabs, that's for sure.
Yeah. But anyway, Big Bash has been going good, so can't really complain. I think it's only going to get better.
I think Adelaide will win it. Sydney Sixers are coming second at the minute, but I can't see those two dropping it from here, and Adelaide should go all the way.
Yep, yeah. And I think another good thing about Big Bash is you kind of get a little bit of a reset each season.
Yep.
Because you get like different internationals come across, and you won't just see the same teams with the same players every year. Yeah,
at the same time, it is a little bit weird in that respect because you don't have there's still locals that pay for each team, but it's hard to cheer against a side when those guys are going to go then play on for Australia.
Yeah.
So it is, even though they are all trying to win, there is that little bit of friendliness about it. Yeah. Which is fine though, as long as the cricket's good, which it has been.
Yeah, well, I mean that makes sense because for me, I enjoy watching it and I'll watch it whenever it's on. But I don't have a team. I haven't picked a team.
Yeah, I don't really either.
It never actually occurred to me to pick a team. You just enjoy watching every match.
And you go to a game if you can get to one.
Yeah, and the thing is, I watch all the matches.
Yeah,
I'm interested in all of them.
Yeah,
there's always players that I'm interested in each team, and most of them put on a good show. I mean, occasionally you get someone who just has a mulligan and they just have a shit game, but a few and far between these days. I think they've really figured out the format.
Or somebody dances halfway down the pitch and leaves one.
Yeah,
that can happen.
Wasn't that a cracker?
Oh, I'll tell you what, I reckon nobody's reminded him of it.
Nah, no way. It was just a brain fart and a half.
Yeah. I think one of the other great performers has been Ben Dunk. For Hobart, he was smacking him the other night.
Yep.
If he's not looking at Australian selection for the World Cup. Yeah, I think they've got to look at him because he's just doing too well.
There's been big raps on cutting as well from people in the know.
Yep,
they reckon that he can whack on a mile.
Yeah,
even international players said that he's one of the biggest hitters they've seen in the nets.
So hopefully we should see that flow on. Yeah, even though it's the World Cup is one day, it's not T20s. Yeah. Hopefully we see a few of them sneak in.
It'll be interesting because this World Cup will be really the first one we've had after the real influence of T20 on cricket throughout all. So it'd be interesting to see how it's played. And are they still going to use that same format where you get the new ball after 20 overs or whatever it is?
25
overs?
I think so. I haven't read otherwise.
Because I like that idea. I like trying to
the ball hard.
Yeah, and trying to eliminate just that dull period where you're just pushing singles for 20 overs.
Well, I think everyone's worried about when T20 came in, it was going to ruin Test cricket. I don't think it's done that at all, but it certainly has usurped one-day cricket. Yeah, I'd rather watch a T20 match than a one-dayer.
Yeah, I'm still not sure. I like one-days because there's still that little bit of we'll just say, like setting up an innings. Whereas Big Bash, there's none of that. You just go out there and whack it. But generally, you see the scores there ain't a huge difference between totals for what they are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a lot of times for the one days, you'll see 200, 220, stuff like that. And
for a one day, it's really got to get up towards that 300 mark for you to start to think, wow, okay, they've done something here.
It's got to get up to 300 for you to be interested in watching the second innings.
Yeah, almost, yeah. I mean, the other thing good with one day is you can actually see people try and get centuries and that kind of stuff, which is really rare in the T20s. It's sort of they're working for 40s. Yeah. And so, he's got 40 off 20. That's amazing.
Yeah. A lot of time you're looking at your strike rate. That's what's
strike
more
rate
important.
Is more
important. It's like, wow, he scored 20 off of 10. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And that's 20 runs, but that's the way you got them.
The other thing in the Big Bash League, why are the Melbourne teams so shit?
That's a good point. Because you would think if any teams would have the talent around the dressing rooms to be able to have a good squad, to be them. But
again, it looks like they've picked people on reputation, and it's starting it's not looking good at all.
No.
The Stars were without a victory until they faced the Renegades in the local derby and bowled them out for 57.
Yeah,
that was shocking.
That was terrible.
the one good thing about it, I thought, was, and something maybe it is a little bit more unique to T20, was after you've just lost 5 for 20 or whatever it was, the 6th wicket coming in are still trying to hit runs.
Yeah,
because what's the point?
What else are you going to do?
Let's consolidate here for what, an over?
Yeah. I'll just get my eye in for 6 balls and then we'll have a go.
Yeah, so they were still trying to score the runs, which made them collapse again.
But that's what you want to see. You live by the sword, you would die by the sword.
Yeah.
And that's just the theme of T20.
Yeah, lose by little, lose by a lot, doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
You've got to go for the win to make the finals. So even though it was a bit shit result, getting bowled out for 57, I thought at least the attitude was there. It was still careless shots and whatnot, but they were trying to win.
Yeah, that's it. And you see, I mean, that's just the advantage of T20 is that you have to be all that aggressive, otherwise you just don't win. Yeah. I mean, and you're going to fall short a couple of times, and that's just the way it is.
Yeah, exactly. Take it on chin. But that was a funny game too. Cause I think Kevin Peterson called it perfectly when they had him mic'd up. Yep. And they said, the Renegades just didn't bowl well with the new ball. Let too many runs and too many wides go, and when it was their turn, they bowled well and kept it tight. And Renegades started skying a few, and they held on to the catches, and that was it. Yep. I thought he called it well.
Yeah, and that's like one of the differences between the one days and the T20s is that if you have a little bit of a collapse, you don't have any time to consolidate. And build up.
Got to get back on.
Get back in there. Yeah. Which I mean, it's not necessarily a bad thing.
No,
keep it exciting. But
especially hard in the second innings, because if it's the first innings, you go, all right, we're not getting a big score, but at least let's just get something we can defend. Yeah. In the second innings, it's just we've got to get those runs. Yeah. It just doesn't matter beyond that.
Yep. It'd be interesting to see a T20 set up as a test match where you play 2 innings back to back.
Right.
So that's just a thought. Instead of a one-dayer, you'd have a T20 set up in that format.
Yeah. It would be interesting. So, it would take the same amount of time. I'm sure there've been some local leagues or something that have given it a go. Yeah. I mean, you're still dealing with 40 overs a side. Yeah. With obviously an extra innings break. Yeah. Do you reckon that somebody could force the follow-on in a T20?
Yep, I reckon it'll definitely happen.
I reckon, if let's say you're up by 150 on the first innings. Yeah. Just keep going. Just belt them in. All right, guys, you need 400. Yeah.
Way you go.
Good luck.
But that was something different you could play around with.
I mean, obviously one of the big draws of T20 was that it takes just the 3 hours, and you can go in after work and still get home at an early hour. Playing 2 innings sort of takes that away.
Yeah, that's true.
At the same time, if that's more interesting than a straight 50-over game, then if it gets people in, be something to consider anyway.
Yeah, and I think for the internationals where they only play 1 or 2 T20s anyway, it's not a legitimate competition.
Yeah, that's the other funny thing I don't get. The T20 domestic leagues around the world are taking off. Yeah. But it still hasn't really cracked international. Yeah. Because, we had 5 one-dayers against South Africa, and we had a T20 or 2. So.
I can't remember, but it wasn't
1
many.
or 2. Yeah. The other way, guys.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think. Yep.
I don't know why they're insisting on going down that path. Maybe it's because the World Cup's around the corner. Yeah. But I don't know why we don't play more international T20s.
Yeah. Because, I mean, it's a great way to kick off the summer as well. Like, you played them at the start, where you get the interest in it and people are excited about it. It seems like a good segue into your test matches and then your one days.
Yeah, I mean, test matches are always going to be the focal point for me.
Yeah, me too.
Because a test match is like an absolute titanic struggle.
Yeah, that's it.
And to get that one win, it takes 5 days or, 4 if they're on.
That's it. But I think that T20s weren't brought around necessarily for the established cricket fans trying to get new people into the game and that. So I think for the established cricket fans, test matches will always be the ones that they appreciate the most, and that's because you understand the ebbs and flows of what happens in a match of cricket.
And it's a titanic struggle.
Yeah, it is.
It's not the one night stands of the T20s.
Yeah, and just when you saw, like, not the last test match from before, where it goes to 5 days, but that whole test match hinged on Mitchell Johnson's batting and bowling for it over. That was it.
And then it actually
whatever it was,
wrapped up in 4 days.
Yeah.
Because I was pissed off because I was in Brisbane for the 5th day.
Right, yeah.
Couldn't go. Well, I could go, but there's nobody else there.
Yeah. Make a bigger ring cup snake.
Anyway, so
that's the thing. It's disappointing to see people kicked out for building a cup snake. I don't understand the hazard.
Yeah, because you were at the Boxing Day test.
Yeah, and we saw 3 people get kicked out. Actually, one got kicked out, and the other guy, they just made him put it in the bin and brought him back to his seat. And it's like, well, you may as well have let him pick up the rest of the fucking cups and then put him in the bin, and then go back to cricket.
Give him 50 papers punishment.
Yeah, exactly. And I just saw they're bringing in the you can recycle your old cans in New South Wales now for 10 cents a pop or whatever.
Oh,
it
right,
is.
like they do in South Australia.
That in. Imagine if you did that at the cricket with the plastic.
With the plastic cups.
Fuck, he'd be bashing up the guy with a beer snake trying to rob the bastard.
I reckon that'd be a great sport to watch. I would watch that rather than some of the test match.
And it'd be like a darts crowd then. That'd be awesome.
Well, yeah, they get close to the darts crowd for the Sydney cricket test match anyway.
Yeah. Well, I remember not watching the darts, hearing a story about the darts. I think I might have even said it on here before, where the guy takes his kit off, does a streak across the stage, and then security come, grab him, each arm, drag him back to his seat, tell him to put his clothes on and sit him back down, give him a pint.
Well, yeah, you got to look after the crowd.
Yeah. I say, if you tried that at the cricket, though, you'd be struggling to get everyone off the field.
Yeah. Actually, while we're on the Sydney Test, because it's the last dead rubber of the series, a few of the players have flagged that this is the ground where Phil Hughes died.
Yeah.
So it's going to be the last emotional test. It's good that they're a dead rubber in that sense, but yeah, another reason why I think we'll see some very high scores at the top end.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
of the order.
And you saw how those batters who were around him batted in the wake of his passing away
in Adelaide.
Yeah.
So it's going to be that again.
Yeah.
I reckon there'll be, I don't know, let's throw a number out there. 5 century makers in this test.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, we'll go with that.
Sounds good.
Yeah, why not?
All right, so that's how we've seen cricket so far this year. Looking forward to watching a few more of the Big Bash. I think we're about halfway through the season now.
Yeah, I think so. Yep. We've got next test matches tomorrow.
Yeah, it starts tomorrow. Teams should be named. Hopefully they'll be named by the time we turn this off.
Yep, and we'll be live tweeting as the day goes on. So
yeah, as we always do.
Yeah, might get hammered halfway through the match. We'll see. You better tell by the tweets.
You'll be able to tell by the spelling.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
All right, thanks.